Right, around and to the right is how I get up there. I'm sitting here trying to remember how to get to the theater. We gotta use that back door. I tried to come here earlier for Taltree's book, but apparently you need to come here when you're in the part of the story where the game wants you to go back in there again.
So Prewen never left Doris's theater after they invaded. They must be holding Edgar here in their new headquarters.
They must be, mustn't they? And somewhere around here, maybe that one journal somewhere, huh? Huh. Interesting. I found an entire container that was full of bottles, and what I got out of it was bullets and lead pipe. Alright. Interesting alcohol habits they have around here, huh? There's nothing around here. Remember, class? Bite and smash. Bite and smash. Maybe he won't notice me. Shit. Maybe he won't notice me. Trying to walk in the direction of the head icon if I can. Whoa! He went on a little trip there. That's fine, he's fine. Everything's fine. You're fine. Ooh. Hello. Have I been up here before? I probably have. I would guess yes. I don't know if I'll be able to get towards that head, though. Well, I don't see Swansea in there. Seems like going into the central room's not a good plan. I like how I ran away from these guys, but now I'm wiping them all out one by one. Hey guys, your leader's a vampire now. Heads up. Oh, that's exterior. No, I went to turn. Game. It wasn't even on my camera. Damn it. Yeah, I went to turn to open that box, and the game was like, you want to go outside? Back inside. Whoopsie. Let's not make that mistake again, I say, as I once again press a little too fast, in a way you might concerningly think might lead to, you know, the same thing happening again. Hooray. Going upstairs may have been a mistake. Hey! Oh. Oh goody. I bet everyone respawned. I bet that's exactly what happened. What you guys doing down there? Gather information about Swansea's work. That's the new main quest, apparently. Did that just change? Because there was a weird pa-ching sound effect that I don't really know the meaning of. Ah, there. I don't even know why I'm eating you, honestly. I have no resources to gain. Habit, really? Ow. Oh, yeah? And he's out of there. It really goes flying. Dr. Swansea, what have you been up to, my sir? The god of Priwen seems to have taken a liking to you. I did not appreciate that chip damage from a second ago. Gonna have to ask you to step off. Oh, staff guy's here. You calm down for a second, alright? You just calm down. Oh yeah? Alright. Camera's trying to keep up, not quite though. There we go. Take a load off as I stab myself. We're here to investigate his kidnapping. I'm all into looting bottles apparently in this particular theater. And they exclusively don't give me bottles when I open them. Nothing important in conspicuous chest?
I cannot enter.
That's locked. That's not. Did they kind of make me play the same dungeon twice, where I even start on the same side and end on the same side? Is that what happened here? No, that's where I came in, so I've looped now. Without finding where I'm supposed to go. Okay. Replaying a zone is weird. Because you have to try to remember, like, I've been here before, but was I here before today, or the other day? Like, which areas here have I been to before? Here's the front door. Oh, so he's below us. Okay. So somewhere below us there's this trail of blood leading to Swansea, but it's not here. You can tell because when I'm walking around it's moving at a different speed than the rest of the floor. So that's not right here. There must be some way to get there.
It's locked, all right.
The light is pointing at here, like you're supposed to be able to go in here. Like that light points at that light points at that. Am I supposed to be able to open these books? Is that Swansea's research? Oh. I can open that one. McCollum's report. November 6th, 2018. I just finished reading Doris Fletcher's journal. As painful and dreadful as it was, my God, the woman planned to see everyone in London afflicted, by infecting all who would come to her next play. It helped me to understand greatly what is going on. Doris Fletcher's real name was Doris Jones. She was the daughter of some Harriet Jones who had been treated as a patient for a long time at Pembroke Hospital. She clearly hated her mother, but used her fame and notoriety to see her while visiting the poor sick in the East End. I don't know exactly what happened then, but this is how her mother infected her before returning to the theater, and how she turned into that monstrosity that the leech known as Jonathan Reid finally defeated. The presence of that vampire in the same hospital where Harriet Jones was treated can't be coincidence. I'm convinced he is deeply involved with the vampire plague going on in London right now. I'm also convinced Swansea is his accomplice, and that those two are planning something more terrifying than anything the Guard has ever faced. Maybe I should take some time and read the old books and manuscripts the Guards still possess to get some answers. It may prove useful. In the meantime, I better send some patrols to investigate about what is occurring at the Pembroke Hospital. 2 days later. It took me 2 days to parse through the dusty registers and books we keep in the vault. God, I hate losing time like this. The search did prove fruitful for once. I found 2 pages that could be related to our present situation in a copy of William Marshall's memoirs. I took them with me to read more carefully. This creature Marshall says he fought in 1666. This disaster that aimed to destroy London. It is very similar to what happened with Doris Fletcher. Disease, infection, hate of the living, a desire to see the city ransacked. I have no doubt that the bloody leech of William Marshall is behind all this, and that he is back. This could be our greatest accomplishment, if the Guard could at last find and destroy the old bastard. I believe what Marshall did in 1666 is exactly what Reid is now trying to do. Did the creature, this disaster, escape their will? Is it why Marshall destroyed him in 1666 and Reid did the same with Doris Fletcher before she became such a creature? I don't know. But those two are clearly working together, and Swansea is helping them. I will immediately give orders to have him arrested and interrogated. As for Reid, I'll destroy that evil beast myself. Then we'll deal with William Marshall. Why are you doing that? And this disaster ring, Priwen will prevail once more.
Doris Fletcher was about to become a disaster. I'm getting close to having all the evidence.
Getting close to seeing all the evidence. Is this door gonna open now? What? Oh, I guess there was a key in there. Still. Alright. So onwards then. Did that whole loop because I didn't find that one book. Whoops. Now we can go down. So he thinks I'm like an ancient conspiracy. Which, I mean, technically I could be part of that. I don't know I am. So the parts where he thinks I'm planning stuff is wrong. But I may have been created to serve a similar purpose. In fact, he might even be on the track of who my father, quote-unquote, is. Since I don't know what the vampire that turned to me still. And we're probably building towards that reveal. Hi, how you doing? You doing good? Had a good time? How do you feel about this? How did I miss at that range? Like, seriously. There we go.
It's locked, all right.
The Vampire Knight, new collectible. William Marshall. Forget the legend about the man. The one most of you never heard of, you lazy bastards. Forget the empty tomb in Temple Church. Forget the death of those among us who died trying to locate him. We, the Guard, know that he is still hiding somewhere. That's the only fact we must keep in mind. Another small detail we need to keep in mind. This little fucker's clever. How many times have we thought we had cornered him? To finally only find old dust and cobwebs. Marshall has been a vampire for 1,000 years. We're no match until we change our plans concerning this hunt. So here are a few questions for you, lazy bastards. I want all of them answered before speaking to another great hunt to pin the leech down, who helped him escape his den under the Temple Church. We know now for a fact that a private contractor was paid to move a large coffin from the church a few years before we investigated the tomb. What exactly did the traitors of the Brotherhood of St. Paul discuss with Marshall when they met in 1785 in London? The report of this meeting has been burnt, but witnesses remain of a request made by Marshall to access a small book in the library. Why does the monstrosity known as Lady Blackwood seem linked to Marshall? They exchanged letters. She went in London to meet him in 1786, according to the Brotherhood spies. She tried to discreetly buy his castle in Wales in 1793, before fleeing when spotted by our fearless mentor, Kendall Stone. See the pattern here? What happened during these few years? Why such agitation and activity? Answer these questions, my brothers, and you'll find the path to our most eminent foe, William Marshall, oldest vampire of England, to survive our righteous wrath. From Know Your Enemies, Carl Eldritch, Priwen leader. William Marshall's memoirs. The Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole finally agreed to meet me in London. They promised to meet inside the new cathedral of St. Paul. I liked the wit and solemnity of these men. What a simple. to choose the place where I defeated this disaster, but also the place where I fell. I agreed to their proposition. There, in the sacred silence of the church and under the eye of God, they respectfully listened to me. They acknowledged my victory against this evil creature, the Dusastro, the Eater of Stars, who only wished to spread death and pestilence all around her. Since they acknowledged my will to save London in 1666, they heard my request. My burning desire to stop the blood of hate. Their primate promised to come back to me with an answer. The primate of St. Paul wrote back to me with just a name. The Tear of Angels. According to him, this ancient artifact could heal anything, cleanse any blackened soul, and purify my blood. Blessed be the Lord, it took me more than 100 years to find a cure for the blood of hate, but I may finally have found it. Soon the rage shall end. Soon I may repair the wrong I did and cleanse my failures. Now all I need to do is retrieve the necessary ingredients to create the artifact. Blood of the purest heart, mixed with the blood of a king. To find such rare ingredients is not what worries me the most, for time is on my side. It's the last part that worries me. Pure essence of garlic. I'm afraid it will literally hurt like hell when I drink the antidote. But if that's the price to pay to cleanse my soul and correct my mistakes, I am ready to endure this excruciating pain.
Blood of a pure heart, garlic, blood of a king. I don't understand. Perhaps this is what McCullum drank. I had better keep that in mind.
What McCullum drank, even though he wasn't a vampire, he drank it in advance? Was it his way of... Wait.
It's locked.
Am I gonna find out that McCullum wasn't turned when I tried to turn him? And that, the thing he drank was actually the cure for being a vampire? Like he drank it preemptively? Pinned note. Evidence safe. Till further notice, the safe will be used to store sensitive evidences. It must always be locked. If you need access to it, find me on the last floor to get the key. And bloody remember to bring it back to me when you're done, Rodney. It's on the last floor.
The key to that box. It's locked, all right.
Pandora's box. Ah. This is where his book is. The key is on the last floor. What's the last floor? Is it the bottom floor or the top floor? Huh. I'm not sure what that means.
Edgar. Edgar, can you hear me?
Jonathan, is it really you?
Easy. Easy. Save your strength. I'm getting you out of here.
Don't try to spare me. As a physician, I know all too well when it's too late. Punctured lung, broken ribs, and internal bleeding. An accurate diagnosis, wouldn't you say?
Edgar, what happened?
They wanted me to confess. Beat me black and blue.
Geoffrey McCullum ambushed me at the Pembroke Hospital. He was convinced you and I were responsible for the skal epidemic.
I never imagined that self-righteous fanatic would dare to attack us in the open. What became of him?
I put him in a somewhat delicate position when I made him an immortal.
Really? Are you sure that was the wisest course of action?
Time will tell. The most intriguing part of his accusation was that you and I were the pawns of some ancient vampire.
William Marshall. Yes, They tortured me to make me confess the same nonsense.
I think you're hiding something, Edgar.
What do you mean?
William Marshall, for example. You speak of him as if you know him. How is that?
Jonathan, I cannot say I'm ready for another round of questions.
Why would the Guard of Priwen believe you and I created the vampire epidemic?
Maybe due to our profession? Because I offered you shelter in my hospital.
What can you tell me about William Marshall?
Not much. History paints the story he was the greatest knight who ever lived. Amongst the immortals, he had a yet greater legend.
Why is the Guard of Priwen so obsessed with him?
He was the only ancient vampire to escape the first great hunt launched by the Guard of Priwen in 1854. They believe he's an evil creature plotting his return.
Why would he deserve such a reputation?
I cannot say. The Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole has next to no intelligence on him. All I know is that he's supposed to be the oldest of all the British vampires.
While investigating the epidemic, I read some of McCullum's findings. I think you have some explaining to do.
I have nothing to hide, Jonathan. Nothing at all.
Do you know Doris Fletcher's real name?
No, I'm afraid not.
Her real name was Doris Jones. She was the daughter of Harriet Jones.
What do you want me to say, Jonathan?
Do you remember when we suspected Sean Hampton of killing Harriet Jones?
Yes. The terrible episode that came as a shock to us all.
Harriet Jones faked her own death. When I found her in the sewers, she confessed she wanted everybody to pay for what happened to her.
That woman was extremely bitter, full of hatred and festering anger.
Doris Fletcher visited her mother at the Pembroke Hospital. That's how she first got infected.
I know nothing about that. Miss Fletcher once came to visit the sick. That is all I know.
No, Edgar, there is more. Doris Fletcher was Harriet Jones's daughter. They exhibited the same symptoms: blind hate and strong physical mutation.
What does this sad story have to do with us?
Do you know where we are? Doris Fletcher's theatre. This is where that hateful creature plotted to spread the epidemic across London.
I only briefly met Miss Fletcher once when she visited the Pembroke Hospital. You say it was to see her mother. She seemed like such a sweet and graceful woman.
My point exactly. The disease turned her into a bitter soul, driven by vengeance just like her mother, a symptom of all the infected patients.
Certain diseases are known to produce similar effects. Rabies, for example. And rabies is not the devil at work.
Come on, Edgar. Don't you see the pattern here? The epidemic, the link between Doris and Harriet, the suspicion of McCullum?
How could I? I never saw Harriet Jones again after she fled the hospital.
Doris and Harriet shared more than a hidden family bond. They were the embodiment of the epidemic and are linked to the Pembroke Hospital. Come on, Edgar, this is no coincidence.
I swear I'm at a complete loss. All I did was administer vampire blood to cure old Harriet. There was no evil plan, no diabolical plot.
You did what?
I tested the regenerating and healing properties of vampire blood on Harriet Jones. My only intention was to find the cure for influenza, I swear.
Whose blood did you use? William Marshall's? Mine?
Lady Ashbury's. While transfusing her with human blood, humanely appeasing her hunger, I also kept samples of her blood for my research.
You used her blood on Harriet Jones? My God, Edgar, that's unethical. You betrayed 2 of your patients at the same time.
How dare you judge me? Must I name the alarming list of your victims?
We are both deceivers. But at least I know I'm a monster.
You have worked beside me. You saw what I'm doing at Pembroke Hospital. Jonathan, you know I'm not an evil soul. Just another victim of this tragedy.
He speaks really well for somebody who is dying of a punctured lung specifically. You can let him die saying he deserves it. You can turn him into a vampire for 3,000 XP. Or you can embrace him and just consume him for experience. 6,000 in this case. So these are the 2 options for killing him, and that's for keeping him around. Keeping Pembroke Hospital running seems like the smartest move. And I shouldn't be that surprised by what he did, considering what we already know, that he's letting vampires feed on the dying and stuff like that. It's kind of our out.
No, Edgar, you are not going to die. Unless you want to.
What do you mean?
I can save you, Edgar. I can turn your broken body into one like mine.
You truly would? After all I've done, after all that's been said, you would offer me this gift?
I have no way of knowing which punishment would be worse, Edgar. But it is not for me to decide. So?
Oh, please, Jonathan, please. I beg you. This is what I've always wanted. This is what I've always searched for.
Very well, then. Prepare to die and be reborn. To face an eternity of guilt.
I'm ready. Oh, indeed, I am ready.
Enough!
Well, suffer the consequences of your action. Hint failed. Oh. Wait, there's a hint you only get if he dies? Huh. That's not usually how that works. It's chapter 6. How many chapters are there? Alright. Cool. I'm a little perturbed by his response. Wait, is that a noose sticking out of the floor? What the fuck? Like it's rigid, but also no clipping? Huh. I kind of was hoping he'd have a response more along the lines of, like, a begrudging, like, I will accept this curse because it's the only way to continue my good work or anything, but he was like, oh, Jonathan, it's all I've ever wanted. I'm like, oh no, was all of his experimentation just trying to find ways to become a vampire, and he actually doesn't care about being a doctor and all that stuff? Because that's a bit alarming. We'll see what kind of vampire he makes, I guess. It'll be interesting to see him and the other character both be vampires in this storyline. I'm gonna try very hard not to leave this building because I'm still looking for the key to that safe. I gotta say though, I'm really getting tired of that in this game. I'm kind of getting ready for the game to wrap up to an extent, and one of the things I'm least interested in at this point is the experience of slowly grinding my character up and down every wall to find every interactive object so I can fulfill my father's quest or find a key or something. It's just not very captivating to run back and forth across these maps over and over again until I find the glowy object that's the specific one I need to find. And that they, at this point, I think this far into the game, they've now gone back to that well way too many times. Somebody yelling out here? Or is someone yelling, Lord, give us strength? They said the last floor, so it might be on the roof. I mean, not the roof, the third floor or whatever. The one where you go through the hole in the ceiling to get to.
Look at it.
Ah, where'd you come from? I'm gonna have to ask you to step off for a second. Yum, 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 yum.
I have it.
Oh.
I can now open the box.
Probably should have eaten him. Whoops.
Don't forget to check every door.
That's a different one. They spawned an enemy, and that enemy had the key. All right. But yeah, that father quest has really worn me down, looking for those documents that don't even really shed that much interesting light on the scenario, but also take an eternity to find. I'm also not really fond of anything that reminds me of Mass Effect Andromeda, to be fair.
I really don't know if I should read this.
Right, I was supposed to not read... I was supposed to not read that information. I'm supposed to just take it to Usher Talltree and not read it. And not read it. And not read it. And not read it. Read it and face my wrath. Bing! And we go. 8th of January 1918. The cards worry me, for they keep on announcing the coming of an imprecise but terrible danger, distinct from this awful war. I better call back the legates of London and tell them to observe and report any unusual events. 15th of March 1918. Something's definitely going on. The guards keep hiding what is approaching, and that can only mean something powerful is moving, something so strong and potent, the cards cannot fully reveal its nature. All the legates but one are back in London. His mission in Lhasa is too crucial to be aborted. The only noticeable event is the frequent meetings between Aloysius Dawson and the Ascalon Club. It's nothing to worry about for now. 24th of July, 1918. A terrible epidemic is upon us, and I don't like this at all. My legates have been sent back overseas to protect them from the disease, but also to find any clue about the origin of the plague. I am not totally convinced this is all natural. In the past, we had many cases of vampire activity linked with sudden epidemics. We must remain vigilant. 17th of August, 1918. All over the world, hundreds of thousands dead. Broken families, despair, and affliction deeply rooted in our hearts. This epidemic is a curse. Reports from every country tell me this catastrophe has no boundaries, no limits. The good news is that the disease seems to have withdrawn. The bad news is the cards keep foreseeing a calamity. 19th of September, 1918. Cards were right from the beginning. A calamity is upon us. The best sign may be the return of the Guard of Prewin. Geoffrey McCollum himself is back in London. He is actively inquiring and recruiting members for a new campaign. Whatever I may think of McCollum's new methods, I must admit he has a good nose for danger. We must all stay alert. 21st September. McCollum did not waste any time. At least 3 of his warhounds have been ordered to survey me. Same old hate, same old methods once again. They will endure about all my moves. They will inquire about all my moves, all my acquaintances, and all my actions. I know they are convinced I am an immortal plotting against them, against humanity. Stupid hunters, I have no time for this. I may have my secrets, but I am not the conspiring foe thereafter. But they are right about something. The cataclysm will not be avoided. 15th of October. For the second time since I am the primate of St. Paul, I fear for this city. Skals are invading London, and the entire country. No, not invading. They're already here. They are among us, released by the flesh of the many infected. Observers of the Brotherhood tell me that foreign vampires are arriving from all over Europe, delighted to get their share of innocent and suffering flesh. This country, as we know it, may be on the verge of oblivion. We still don't know what is maneuvering against us. 26th October. The cards are still worrying me, as if the real danger was not revealed yet. I am convinced that the Guard of Prewin is about to launch a second great hunt. This is the only explanation to the patterns of activities deployed by McCollum. Control of strategic command posts all over the city, creation of many new weapons, robbery to quickly finance his expensive undertaking. I know my name will be on the list if they decide to hunt down all identified vampires in England, but I refuse to submit to this threat. 7th of October. A Prewin attack is imminent. Scouts and patrols are getting closer every night. I can't even blame them, for the situation is critical. A few reports even claim the horned vampire may be back. But their blindness never ceases to astonish me. How can they keep considering me a foe? Have I not proved I am their ally? Have I not done all I can to protect immortals? This is my last entry in this journal. May God have mercy on their souls. Huh. Oh no. I read it. If you read it, you'll face his wrath. I'm like, what is the only... I think the only new information in this entire thing was that there was a horned vampire, apparently, which, if I were to take a guess, I would guess is the person who made me. Which is kind of a reveal, I guess. Maybe. But it's just revealing it exists. And like, if they ever show up, I'll know they exist. Weird reveal. Oh well. Let's see how mad he gets at me, right?
I can't believe it.
You can't believe it? Wait, he didn't have a second sentence. I was like, alright, you can't believe... And like, here comes the next sentence about what he can't believe. And he just stopped. Weird. Alright. Oh yeah, awkward jump cut, because it's basically been hours. But I was in the middle of this building, so it has to, like, load me back into this building again. It's fine, we just gotta get upstairs. We can do this. Sounds like someone naughty has found their way into the building. Hey Ashbury, I've got news. Also, I'm guessing Tall Tree's gonna know that I read his diary because he, like, is a fortune teller, and he was like, "Don't read my diary, bro." And I'm like, "I'm reading your diary." I'm like, "Don't read my diary, bro." I'm like, I'm reading your diary. It's like, damn, I told you not to read my diary. And he's not gonna be happy about that. Worst case scenario, I eat him, right? That's a really healthy district. Could do with some eating. We're near that, aren't we? Yeah, the theater. Well, the theater's like in the middle of the map.
Convenient time.
Oh, that's how it manifested.
So Harry Jones became the original carrier when Edgar gave her vampire blood. I must tell Elizabeth.
It's not that dramatic that Edgar was experimenting with vampire blood. It is rather dramatic if that is, in fact, the very, 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 very first part of the plague. But how do they prove that? Or does Edgar just know that? That he's is a fuck up?
I cannot enter.
I'm so tired of these doors. Damn it. I get so tired of the doors that only open from one side. Just once I've reached a certain point in the game where I'm like wrapping things up and I'm like, those doors, I'm never gonna open them from the right side. Like for the rest of the game, probably. Those are functionally permanently closed doors, I think. Let's head back to Usher Towel Tree. This game really likes to have female plague carriers. My god. Nope, not too far yet. Like, this game has a variety of different monsters and stuff like that, but every single vampire you fight that's a full vampire, like randomly in the open, every single one of those is male for some reason, even though obviously female people can be vampires too. But also in the skal community, I think every female skal is the plague explodey one, and every male skal is not. And those are mutually exclusive for reasons.
Dr. Reid, still conducting your nocturnal survey?
Is it true you were dropped in rank? Tell me about it.
Yes, it is. I made a terrible mistake. I deserved it. Sometimes I think I should have resigned.
So why are you still working here?
Because I'm a damn fine copper. I just don't want to have someone innocent hung again by mistake because of me.
The death penalty is a great shame.
I agree. I'm convinced all civilized nations should abolish the death penalty. Maybe after the war, once that bloodshed is over, the survivors will change that.
Why do you think there shouldn't be a death penalty?
I believe no one should decide to take a man's life. Not a nation or a government.
Are you a pacifist, Inspector?
No, sir. But I believe in divine justice. Only God has the right to decide who will live and who must die.
What are you investigating, exactly?
Well, my 2 missing persons cases have been solved. By you, it seems. Are you just that lucky? Or do you know something I don't?
I was lucky enough to find them both while conducting my investigation in this part of town.
Why do I still have the feeling that you're hiding something? What about the abductor? Was it the same person?
I don't think so. You had better interview Miss Teasdale and Mr. Kimura on that matter. All I did was to lead them safely home. Have you recent news of Aloysius Dawson?
Come on. The most ruthless tycoon of England dies and gives his fortune to the poor. The man has been tricked. I suspect torture and murder here.
Goodbye, Detective Inspector Albright.
Goodbye, Dr. Jonathan Reid. I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
You're welcome to inspect the body, where you'll find that he died of natural causes very slowly. Although timely. Considering how fast you can fast forward through time and stuff like this in this game, it's rather surprising that he manages to die just in time for you.